back and enjoy the best of Ron and Fez on 106.7 WJFK.
Earl, I only went to you once. I went to you once to tell an amusing story.
You threw me.
But you saw the movie with us. You were at the rehearsal with us.
You threw me.
Fez and I are carrying a 40-minute interview.
I was just in the corner minding my own business.
You've listened to the box set.
I'm in the corner minding my own business and you throw a question.
And the Funk Brothers are in studio. Earl wants to be here with us. He's helping load some stuff at the CD players. Ronnie goes to you once, like he said, and you totally choke in front of the Funk Brothers.
Now, I would not have brought it up unless you... But I remember you told us an amusing story today on the A train. We all laugh, we backslap, and I think to myself, that's an amusing story. Maybe it'll come up again later.
I am still awestruck, and you couldn't ask me what 2 and 2 is now, and I couldn't tell you.
You're such a nut. Then the most embarrassing thing is the Funk Brothers are sitting here looking at you.
Right.
So you turn your back on them, and you can't even look them in the eye.
I was totally starstruck. Totally starstruck.
You choked. You did a celebrity choke. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah, that's awful.
Everyone's due one. After 13 years, I finally.
Oh, come on, you get them constantly.
No, I don't. Well, okay, I did it with Dylan, but.
What'd you do with him? Throw water in his face?
No, I shook his hand and I wouldn't let it go, and I couldn't say anything. I was shaking his hand. I was trying to say, nice to meet you, and nothing. I opened my mouth, and nothing came out.
Great. Dylan can't play tonight because some idiot shook his hand off.
Just kept squeezing it until.
No, it was worse. Like, Rory, give me your hand for a minute. I went like this. And I was just
breakdancing?
And I just wouldn't let it go. And then finally, I think it was Mutiny pulled my hand away.
How embarrassing.
I was gone.
Such a nut. And then you pull that in front of the Funk Brothers. Okay.
You're trying to cover Earl's and awe.
I can't believe... No. We'll see him again.
I did a Dan from Hoboken.
Yeah.
You did. You did a celebrity choke. He's still embarrassed. That's what I love about it.
I'm trying to think if I ever did a celebrity choke.
I did one bad. We were backstage at a wrestling event. The late Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado, was backstage. This was so embarrassing, Earl. This may top yours, except it wasn't the Funk Brothers. It was a Von Erich brother. And I put on his title belt. Actually, Ronnie handed me his title belt.
Said, put it on.
And said, you would look great in this. He's not around. We were in the dressing room. We were getting ready to go out to the curtain or whatever. And the belt was sitting right there for Kerry to put on as soon as he went out.
So as soon as Fez squeezes in this belt...
I didn't squeeze. It was loose.
I had a habit in those days of always acting like... Oh, the guy's here, you know what I mean? So I was going to open up the door and go, oh, hi, Kerry. Hi, Texas Tornado. Oh, and make Fez scared. As I open up the door to do the joke, he comes walking in.
He was really there. And I'm wearing his title belt. And now, Earl, here comes the worst part. I can't get the thing off of me. I'm stuck in the world title belt. I'm pulling on the snaps. I'm trying to turn it around. I'm screaming to Ronnie, get this thing off of me. And he's just staring at me wearing the Intercontinental title. Very embarrassing. I tried to explain it to him, and it was, Fez.
You actually said, me, Fez, me character radio show. But see, that was different because you thought you'd actually were going to get beat up.
Sure. I had the man's property on. Rory, you actually have Earl choking on the air tonight?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
You've
God.
already pulled it. All right, nice.
We heard, so was Earl, didn't you pick that up today when we were in the studio? Somebody said that when we were listening to the rehearsal.
Yeah, I think they were mentioning a song. They didn't mention it by name. They just mentioned it by a groove.
Right.
I forget which song it was.
Yeah, all right. Thanks a lot, Ron. All right, here's the bad thing.
The pauses.
The bad thing is you hear me going, like trying to laugh along and keep it going. Like, this is amusing, even though it wasn't.
And it was a great story.
You had a room full of people here. The last person that is going to make any response is going to be me.
We tried to talk about it to figure out what the story was during the break. It was Joe Messina. Couldn't remember the name of the song today.
None of us could remember.
He's sitting next to Eddie Willis and says, What's that song? And there was the groove.
Yeah,
and Eddie named it immediately just by hearing that.
I still remember it now.
It's too late. The Funk Brothers have left.
He's mad at us. All right, we'll take some big choke stories. Anytime you choked and made an idiot of yourself. And I also see that half our staff is lined up wanting to tell their dumb stories. All right, well, let's start it off with our friend Hot Liz. Hot Liz, you're on the air. How you doing, honey?
Hey, Hot Liz.
You guys.
Hey, baby.
Good, and just so you know, my sister's all better.
Yeah.
We're so worried.
Yeah. So anyway, my celebrity choke a few years ago, I met, it's a long story, but I ended up meeting Iron Butterfly.
Oh, God.
Right? Now, listen, they're like 7 years old and they're wife beaters, but I was all baked, and Inagata DeVita is a great song. So I'm with like 4 people I know, and they tell me I'm supposed to talk first. I go up to them and I go, guys, I've been a fan of Iron Maiden since I was like 10.
Oh, jeez.
I say to them, and then I turn around and all my friends had run out of the room because they were so embarrassed and they were laughing. So I'm standing there by myself, like 19 years old.
That's always a bad deal when you call somebody by the wrong name. All right, here's Chris. Chris, you're on Run Fez.
Hey, Chris. Go ahead. What's your choke story?
All right. Huh? What?
Yeah.
I think it's right now.
You just panic now. Here's Tom. Tom, you're on Run Fez.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, buddies. What's up? 18459. Thanks, guys. Actually, I met Ozzy Osbourne in Babylon when he was doing like a CD signing, and what they do, they call you up there, they take your picture, and I wanted to tell him, you know, how much his music meant and all that good stuff, and my jaw just dropped, and all I got out was, I love Ozzy, and he just like just stared at.
All right, so you're actually saying that Ozzy is wittier than you.
Yeah, at the
That's
time,
the saddest story I've ever heard.
It's like the kid who was waiting for Santa Claus and then couldn't remember what he wanted for Christmas.
Here's Richie. Richie, you're on the air.
Hey, Richie.
How's it going, fellas?
But
13862 checking in. Hoo-ah! Thank you. My big celebrity choke has to do with Barry Williams from the Brady Bunch.
Sure, Greg Brady.
Yep, he wrote a book in the 90s called Growing Up Brady, and I went down to a book signing of his down in the city one day. And I'm a big Brady Bunch fan. I got online. I'm waiting for like 3 or 4 hours to get a book signed by him. I get on stage in front of him to sign a book, and I'm gushing at him about the episodes, about like, oh, the Davy Jones episode. I'm going like these weird details about the shows, which he has no clue about. And like, he was like, the look on his face was like, he's looking for the copy of like Catcher in the Rye.
Sure.
Shoot him. Oh, he was terrified.
Now, how old were you at the time, Richie?
Oh, I was probably about 27.
Sure. 27.
Sad, right?
And yes, this is very sad.
Extremely sad.
And you're sitting there going crazy.
And the worst part is I knew the details about the shows. Terrible.
Richie,
terrible, embarrassing.
I had a similar experience with Mr. Henry Winkler out on the streets on West 57th Street. He was on Broadway with John Ritter. I think they were doing The Dinner Guest. I passed him on the street. Ronnie and I were passing him just about every night. And I realized that I had seen in the paper it was his birthday the day before. And I screamed, "Happy birthday, Henry!" And he turned around and looked at me like I'm the most psycho person who's been stalking him.
He just wanted to run, right?
Yeah, he actually did start to giddy up a little bit. And then Fez is not even saying this part. He was actually walking towards him as he shrieked. And Fez is a screamer to begin with.
What?
So Fez, as he shrieks at poor Henry,
I don't shriek.
And it's like, "Happy birthday, Henry!" And the man, and I'm standing next to Fez, and I'm just thinking to myself, all right, now it's always going to be two lunatics approach. Why should I be jug into his strangeness?
I tried to explain to him we do a radio show, and I need to know celebrity birthdays, and that's why I had the information on him.
All right, so we're doing celebrity choke stories, and Chris, you're on Run of Fez.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, I'm DC here. Can't wait to see you guys, hopefully. And that'll probably be my next joke story. But, about 7 years ago, I met Mike Lance from Van Halen.
Oh, nice.
And, yeah, it was great. So, my dad and I are just stalking him, basically. And we hopped through a bunch of no trespassing signs, get to his house, and met him, and it was like, oh, my God, fall down. Like, my dad's holding me up. and
So all right, let me get this straight. You jump the fence. You go up to Michael Anthony's house, who I had no idea even had a fan. And then
or a house.
Then you proceed to semi-faint in front of him?
pretty much, yeah.
All right, this is easily the gayest, strangest L.A. story I've ever heard.
You should never meet someone by trespassing.
No. Although they said Springsteen jumped the wall at Graceland and tried to get in.
Nice.
Here is Tim. Tim, you're on the air. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, Tim.
What's up, Ron? What's up, Fez? I'm early 80s, mid 80s. I'm walking through the airport with a buddy of mine. I just got off seeing a friend of mine. I just saw Brian Setzer and all of these guys right when Farm Aid was big, right? So I'm walking out, and who do I see getting on one of the planes? It's Sting. So I walk up to him, and I go, "You're Sting." He goes, "You're right." And that was about all I was able to muster. And an autograph.
I got a quick Sting story. Sting came into our studio to be interviewed by us. It was a much smaller studio than we have now. We had to open the door. He stunk so bad.
Same year.
That's a foul smell,
no,
really.
you're kidding. What, did he stink?
Everyone called him Stink afterwards.
That's what we did, too.
Yeah. He was into that tantric stuff where you don't bathe for days on end.
It's working for him.
Yeah, tantric. I remember it was called English. Scummy people. Anyway, Lucille, what's your celebrity choke story?
Hey, Lucille.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
My boyfriend and I had gone to Washington, D.C., and at that time we had gotten engaged in Washington, D.C., and while we were walking around in the different museums, we went into the museum that had all the dinosaurs. We went into the cafeteria. We're sitting at our table. I'm trying to have lunch because beside me is Steven Spielberg. I could not take a bite of my food. I could not talk to the man. And when he was done with his meal, he got up, stopped, looked at me, and said thank you for not making a big deal. But I never got over that day. I didn't eat the rest of the day.
Thank you for not making a big deal. Obviously, I noticed that you didn't act like a nut, so I appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me finally enjoy a meal in peace. Me and the world-famous Steven Spielberg.
Absolutely.
Kelly, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi, Kelly.
What's up, boys?
Yeah.
I have a Jenna Jameson choke story. She had come around in New Jersey last year. She was doing tours at strip clubs between doing her movies.
Right.
And so I made sure I got a good stage seat for 2 shows in a row. So I'm there, and she's up on stage, got her clothes all off, and you know how she likes the ladies, so she's crawling towards me. I'm already getting extremely nervous and flustered. She comes over, looks at me, and says, "Hey, baby," grabs the back of my head and plants this huge open mouth kiss on me. And that's the last thing I remember, because when I woke up, I had blood dripping from my forehead. I had passed out and hit the chair. The guy next to me had to pick me up. Jenna had to stop the whole show.
Were you
to
drinking?
make sure I was still okay. No, not at all. I was just so excited from when she kissed me.
That you passed out in a T-bar.
Yeah.
Are you sure this wasn't a James Jamerson story from the Funk Brothers?
Patrick, you're on Ron and Fez.
I got an opportunity to meet Gordon Jump from WKRP in Cincinnati.
Now I'm nervous just thinking about Venus flytrapping you.
The new Maytag repairman.
He's Mormon, and he was touring around different Mormon church buildings giving a speech about acting. And when he was done, we all went up later, we're getting autographs from him. And when I got a chance to meet him in person, the only thing that could come to mind was the episode he did in Different Strokes where he played a pedophile.
Great. So you bring up a kid toucher thing for Gordon
in
Jump.
a church.
Yeah. What do you think, Earl?
Gordon Tree Jump.
And what did he say back to you, by the way, Patrick?
He just basically kind of froze up and really didn't say anything. Kind of said, "That's nice," and kind of went on about his business.
Sure. Here's Bertha. Bertha, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Bertha.
Hi. How you doing?
Good.
I was about 20 years old, and I was working in this drugstore, and I saw everybody getting signatures from this guy who picked up a prescription. So I gave my pen and I gave my paper, and he says, "What's your name?" And I said, "Bertha." And then he signs his name, and he tells me, I said, "Thank you, Mr. Hoffman." And he takes his sunglasses off, and he tells me, "You got to F kidding me." And he just walked away.
And who was it?
Joe Pesci.
Oh.
He's a big boy. He knows what he said. What'd you say?
Hello?
So you called Joe Pesci, Mr. Hoffman, and he says you gotta be effing kidding me. He didn't even find it amusing. He didn't think it was cute.
And then when he left, I looked at his signature and he wrote down, God bless, Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci.
God bless Joe Pesci.
All right, that was a good one because it's the case of mistaken identity while you're bumming an autograph off of somebody. Steve, you're on Fez.
Hi, Ron. Hi, Fez. Well, I was actually in Saturday Night Live in the audience, got to meet the cast after the show. I was hanging out, got to meet Chris Elliott, and I was going to tell him what a big fan I was, how much I liked his work, and it all came out of my mouth wrong, and I wound up saying, hey, Chris, I'm the guy who saw Cabin Boy. I'm the guy. I'm it. That's it. That was me. I'm the guy who
we
saw
got
Cabin
your
Boy.
we got the joke.
It was a very cute joke.
Here's Craig. Craig, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Craig.
Hello, you looking for Greg?
Okay, sure.
Sorry.
We'll go with Greg.
28093.
Okay, buddy.
Hey, I got to see Muddy Waters at Symphony Hall in Newark. I got backstage to meet him. He was incredible. I walk up to the man. He's about 4 foot tall, weighed about 90 pounds, and I just said, Mr. Water. I couldn't talk, and I froze. I was just the biggest idiot. He was my idol. I played guitar for 30 years, and I couldn't talk to the man.
Here's Guy. Guy, you're on Ron and Fez. How you doing there, buddy?
Hey, Guy.
233.
Yeah, buddy.
I met Jerry Seinfeld, like right at the peak of the show, like 6 years ago. And he's shaking hands with a couple of people, and I shook his hand. And he goes, how you doing? And I go, I'm Jewish, too, just like you, Jerry.
Oh, jeez.
And he looks at me for like 2 seconds, stares at me, and he goes, good for you. Anyway, and he goes on to the next person.
I'm really a Scientologist. Here's Robert. Robert, you're on the air, buddy.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, buddies. How's it going?
Cool in the gang.
All right. I met Noriyuki Pat Morita in Hawaii when I was on my honeymoon about 7 years ago.
That's classy.
Yeah. We went on a tour, and actually we had a bus driver that looked just like him. And then a couple of days later, we're on the breakfast buffet at the hotel we were staying at, and I recognized him, and I'm poking my wife with my elbow, and I'm telling her, look, it's Pat Miyagi, it's Pat Miyagi.
Oh.
And the guy just looks at me, and then he didn't even want to shake my hand after that.
I'm not Mr. Miyagi. I'm Mr. Morita. I am not a Vulcan. I'm an elf. Oscar, you're on the air.
Hello, Oscar.
What's up, boy? 1797 here. Yeah, one time I go to a screening, and I'm standing right in the middle of the lobby, and all of a sudden, Andy Garcia, who I really have no affinity for, starts walking by me, and I'm just like stunned. And right as he gets in front of me, I yell out, "Holy F, that's Andy Garcia." Security rushes him into his waiting limo like if I was like a shooter going after the president.
And you're not even a fan, right?
Like, I like the guy, but it's not like, like I go see every movie. It's just like the moment hit, and it's like just like all flash pointed.
I'm close enough to gut him. It's Andy Garcia.
Get Mr. Garcia out of the lobby now. Move now. Swarm.
Here's Matt. Matt, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Matt, go ahead.
What's up, boys?
Hey, buddy.
When I was 18, 2 years ago, Ozfest, every year it's Ozzy and Black Sabbath. They go back and forth.
Sure.
2 years ago it was Black Sabbath, and my brother and I, we bought good seats. We had these pit passes, and if you had that, you got to do like a little meet and greet with Tony Iommi. So they were selling his single CD, his single, so I bought it, and I was going to get him to sign it for me. When we were standing in line, we were next. And he comes by, and you know that look when you're about to cry, but no tears are coming out?
No.
That's the look I had on my face. And all of a sudden, I just threw up on his shoes. He looks down, he goes,
"Oh,
I'm dead serious." He said, "Don't worry about it." I did the same thing to Hendrix when I met him the first time, and he signed my CD and walked away.
Right, because he's Hendrix. Hey, it's our buddy Wally from Saturday Night Live.
Very cool.
Hey, Wally, what's happening, my friend?
Hey, guys, how are you?
Cool.
Oh, there's the theme song. I love it.
That's your classic theme song.
I could have used a little more cowbell.
I love it.
What are you up to?
Not too much. Just get done taping Caution Daily, and I'm on my way home.
Oh.
And I heard what you guys are talking about, and I had a funny story. Before I worked with celebrities.
Okay.
Before I was in the know and knew how to treat them and stuff. I was living in L.A., fresh out of college, and it was a hot summer day, and I walked into a McDonald's, and who's right in front of me is Harvey Korman, just about to take a first lick of a McDonald's ice cream cone, a vanilla ice cream cone, and I walk right up to him and say, hey, it's Harvey Korman. What are you doing in McDonald's? He looks at me, looks at the ice cream, throws it in the garbage, and walks away. Doesn't say a word.
Oh! You ruined a man's dessert.
He was trying to have a nice dessert for himself.
He was, and I didn't know. I ruined it.
Sure. Hey, we heard a good story about you, Wally, that you had Brewer's cue card upside down once.
Yeah, that got back to me in the studio.
Yeah.
I don't quite remember that. It could have happened, I guess. But,
yeah.
Did he say what sketch it was, or he didn't remember?
Yeah, he was doing Pesci, as a matter of fact.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. He said you came in baked.
Yeah, somebody was high, Wally.
No, I never come in baked. It just get baked there.
Oh, nice.
Never come in baked.
Oh, you have a job like ours.
That's funny. I didn't remember doing that, but I try to forget the bad things.
Sure, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So I look good. I look back and say, I don't make any mistakes. But he was always great. Brewer was always great doing that kind of stuff. So. Right.
All right, buddy.
I just want to tell a nice story and say hi to you guys, and I want to stop by soon and see you guys.
All right, we'd love to see you.
Anytime.
All right, take care, my friend.
Have a good night.
That's Wally, the cue card guy, who does cue cards for Saturday Night Live. Now, also does them for the Carson Daly Show, which thrilled Al Dukes. Al apparently jacks to that show.
Yeah, that's his late night jack.
As opposed to his mid-afternoon jack.
Which is something totally different.
Yeah. Here's Archie. You're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Archie.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yeah.
Hey, I was in New York City about a year ago. I saw Janine Garofalo from across the street. I was by the Port Authority there. Called out her name. On the third time she heard me, turned around. I went to run across the street to get her autograph to say hello. Got hit by a cab. Ended up fracturing my ankle.
What did Janine do?
She saw me, but I don't know. When I went down, she might have taken off. I didn't see her.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
She didn't want to be a witness.
Yeah, sure. Why run after Janine?
Well, I just saw her. I was kind of surprised. It's my first celebrity sighting in New York. I wanted like an autograph or just to say hi.
You know you could be sued for slander for calling her a celebrity. Here's Van. Van, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hi, Van.
Hey, how you doing, guys? 12272.
Hooah! There's your hooah.
So nice, buddy. I was in West Orange trying to do a conference at a Pleasantvale Chateau. The Sopranos were taping an episode. And who do I run into but Steve Buscemi?
Nice.
And I look at him, and I'm pandering to him completely. And I say, I really like Trees Lounge, although I don't think anybody else saw it but me and you. And he gave me the meanest look.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
That's horrible. I shouldn't have done that.
No, you shouldn't have. Why do people think that's a good thing to say? I'm the only one who likes your work.
I want to be the guy who saw the movie, and he could say, oh, I really appreciate it. But what happens is instead he wants to hit me.
Yeah, that's never going to work when you go, hey, no one else knows you're brilliant. Most of my friends think you stink. People do that all the time. They'll go, hey, my wife hates you, but I love you guys. And we're like, this doesn't help us.
How's that supposed to make us feel good?
I don't know why I love these kind of stories, Fez, but they always crack me up. All right, here's Irish Rich. Irish Rich, you're on the air.
Hello, Irish. What's up, buddy?
So about 1992, I was standing in a lift line at a ski resort waiting for a friend of mine.
Let me guess, all drunked up?
Well, I was getting close. Yeah, I
Sure.
had a few.
Eating a
But there was
pastrami?
this hot-looking redhead chick standing beside me, so I figured let me start chatting her up, seeing if I can get something. And hadn't a clue who she was until a couple of seconds later, her husband lands up beside her. And I'm 6'4", and her husband was 5'6", Tom Cruise. And it was Nicole Kidman. But he was very good about it. He was maybe a little nervous, but he just kind of grinned about it.
And you had to turn around and say, hey, Tom.
That's about the size of it, yeah.
Sure, he's a little nervous. He thought he could lose Nicole Kidman to you, Irish Rich.
He should be so lucky.
This guy's 6'4" and still looking up at her. Rory keeps passing me notes that he has a story to tell.
What do you have, Rory?
I was at the Counting Crows show a couple years back.
That's every story.
And
all right, we need a little Counting Crows music for to get us in the mood. All right, go ahead.
And right before the show, my brother was sitting there talking to Charlie.
This is Charlie? You mean Charlie?
Charlie, yeah.
Charlie?
No, this is Charlie?
This is Charlie.
No.
This is Charlie?
You're saying Charlie. It's Charlie.
This is Charlie.
Why can't he say Charlie?
You can't do it.
I don't
This is
know.
Charlie.
This is Charlie.
This is Charlie.
Can't do it.
So funny.
So, all right. So my brother's sitting there talking to Charlie, and
Charlie.
And
It's your brother Chuck.
and he, my brother calls me
He
over.
introduced you, and he said,
This is Charlie. And my brother was like, this is my brother Rory. He works in radio. And I get over there, and I'm like, hi. And I couldn't say his name. And I said,
Can't say it now.
And I said, you know what? Forget it. And just walked away. I felt so humiliated that I could never, ever talk to those guys ever again.
sure, any of those what guys? The Crows?
The Crows, yeah. Because I think I would just choke all the time.
Why?
This is my brother Buck.
I don't know. Charlie, out of all the people,
Charlie
is,
What, the accordion player?
Right, he's no big deal, but I completely choked him.
All right,
so
Charlie on line 9. He said he is a big deal.
Oh! So, I mean, imagine if Adam, got a chance to say a hey to him. Forget it.
You're kidding me? You'd be ready to spit the C out of your mouth. You'd be so excited.
You better not. I hear Adam hates that.
This is Charlie.
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 You're still saying sure. So awful. Here's Chris. Chris, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
Hello?
Yeah, Chris, go ahead. Speak up, Chris.
Oh, I'm sorry. I used to live in East Hampton when I was younger.
Nice.
And I met Paul Simon in a movie theater.
That Ryman Simon?
You're going to make me nervous. I won't be able to tell the story.
No, I want to hear it.
Okay, so we followed him into the movie that he was going in, and there were people already sitting behind him, so we sat in front of him.
And I'm sure he couldn't see that tiny little man.
Yeah, see, and I had a hat on, and I wanted to say something to him so bad, so I'm trying to think of anything I can to say.
What movie was it?
I couldn't tell you. It was around the same time like Gandhi was playing.
Sure, bad stuff.
Yeah. So I turned around and I was like, am I in your way? Can you see the movie? Is my hat in your way? I just kept saying all this. I wasn't even thinking about it.
Would you like a booster seat?
And what was he saying back to you?
Nothing. He just smiled. He was like, nope, fine.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
And I said to him, you ever see Garfunkel around anymore? What do you want, Harry? You kicked the doors and we're doing a show here. What is it?
Sorry, I did, when we had Steve Shrippa in here,
Are you telling a story? Or
what are you telling an amusing story?
Yeah.
Well, you sit down and think if maybe Fez and I'll let you.
Oh, okay.
You hear Rory tells his amusing Charlie story, so you come running in with some Steve Shrippa story.
Tonight, in the pre-show meeting, like you can even call it that, Harry Elvis goes to leave the room and just barrels over an office chair. On the way out the office door, it's like working with Dick Van Dyke every day of our lives.
Why would you bother saying Van Dyke?
It's like working with Dick
every day of our lives. Here's Brian. Brian, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, guys, shake it up.
Yeah, shake it up, buddy.
Shake it up. Shake it up.
Hey, a couple years ago, standing outside of an arena for a WCW event, right outside the driveway where all the wrestlers are driving up to get to the arena, I got my stack full of signs. Everyone's like, oh, Hogan's pulling up, Hogan's pulling up. So I jump out in front of the driveway with my Hogan-made wrestling sign, stand in front of the car. The car stopped.
Brian, first of all, how old are you?
I'm 25 now.
Okay, so you're 20 years old, and you made up your own Hogan sign. All right, so go ahead with your story.
And this isn't the embarrassing part yet.
No, we haven't got to the embarrassing part.
Right. So I jump out in the driveway right in front of the car. All right, the car stops about 10 feet from me. He stops, and I see that it's not Hogan. I see it's Kevin Nash. So he pulls his car closer to me, and I stand to the side. He rolls his window down, stops right in front of me, so I reach to shake his hand. He says, get out of my way, you fat F.
Oh, who funnier than Kevin Nash?
That man's head is huge. I was scared to death.
Yeah, he is a big guy. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.